The ball goes right, left a few times. Cheap ball of Jack going into field, goes to Manu. He decides to jump and he find a pass for Bernardo. It's just a matter of seconds that you decided. And I was like, nah, shoot strong. Hello, my name is Rodrigo and this is Maestros. The most important game of my career so far, so a bit nervous and desire to win finally the first Champions League. This was our second final. It was a massive chance for us to finally win the Champions League. And yeah, we knew that we were going to face such a tough opponent. Inter de Milan, they study us so well, and it was a game to find the spaces to try to attack them because they defend narrow, they defend very good, and we knew that we had to do very good things if we want to beat them. We're used to play against, in this case, 5 in the back. We were playing all the year with 2 holding midfielders, one coming from back. In this case, John, he did an unbelievable season. It was great, you know, he was like my friend, mi socio, what it says in Spain. We knew exactly the patterns we have to do into the game, but then a final is a final, it's a different game.
The Ataturk Stadium's seen it all before. Chapters have been written here, but tonight could be special. The team from Manchester could be heading for immortality. It's 2 down and 1 to go.
The engine of the team was these 3 players, also with the Mkhitaryan, you know, with these 4 players, they rotate and they were very strong, you know, with Karanoglu, with Brozovic and Varela. And they try you to attract you to find at the end into the sides with Di Marco and Dumfries, or the players that plays there, and to link with the strikers and then to go forward. Not much complicated, but very effective, you know, in the way. Of course, we know that maybe we will have the initiative of the game in that day, and they will wait a bit more for the counterattack. But they're also a team that is able to keep the ball because they have quality in the midfield. Yeah. When they defend deep, let's say, well, Erling was here, you know, and let's say playing forward so we can see it. Bernard on the side, Jack on the side, Nathan, Ruben, Manu making the 3 in the back, John and me. You know what? This was the idea. We knew that they follow our number 8 and number 10, you know, man mark, and we have the doubt what is this player gonna do. He's gonna stay, he's gonna jump. Normally he jump, and we expect him to jump to me, you know, to find the space. What we didn't expect, we expect that John was a free man, but at the end what they did is when the ball was to this size, they go man mark, and they go with Gundogan in this case. But the game was in the middle and we couldn't fight John in that moment. The first minutes of the game was tough, yeah.
A bit of a chess match at the minute. Shall I go? Shall I stay?
You think they're gonna wait for us and they're gonna defend narrow, and they did like a mixture. They kind of stay, but they jump man mark, so they will leave the Gundogan or, you know, this 2 against 1 against Acerbi. But no, they fix it in this way and they move the number 8 Karanoglu as a holding midfielder, and they just free the other side. And always you have the help of Di Marco or Etseco. In this case, he can go here. They're experts in this, in moving and going forward and man mark. So it wasn't easy to find it. Also because, you know, the nerves of the final. Maybe in another context we could find it, but not in that game in the first half.
Okay, can you just do me a favour here and take off Kevin De Bruyne for Phil Foden?
We know the ability and the skills of Kevin. He just needs 2 meters to find the space for Erling or for an incredible pass, so we knew that we need to find him. But as I tell you, it was a man-mark game, so when he get injured, Phil came in, very similar role but different characteristics of the players, and we knew that we can find Phil. He's very good turning quickly. I remember one pass in the second half, I find him and he make, you know, this particular movement he did, and he came into until the end, you know, and then I save it. In that moment, I think was in the early minutes, 20 minutes, I don't remember exactly. The player has to switch on, you know, Phil has to try to adapt him into the game, not the team adapt to Phil, you know. As a final, you move on, and at the end, Phil, he did a great contribution.
I wasn't good in the first half. I was playing shit, to be honest.
Most of the times when the team doesn't progress is let's say, is the fault sometimes of the holding midfielder not to find the spaces, and maybe it was my mistake to not identify where the space was. In that moment it wasn't. I remember also I was a bit nervous and losing easy balls, not much of that I recognize myself, but I decide to move on, and I think the second half was another thing. Maybe that's why I end scoring.
And there's half-time, a difficult 45 minutes for Pep Guardiola.
The first 2 minutes you are kind of with the teammates, what's going on, what we can find, but at the end Pep started talking, and he's the guy who has to guide us. And yeah, it was exactly that. It was the 10 minutes of the speech was about finding who is the free man, and it was John in that case. They were, they changed, and that's why we have to identify it. But the message was like sometimes the coach cannot do it on the pitch. You have to realize it on the pitch, and we couldn't. But at the end, in the second half, we did it much better. It was a game where the ball goes right, left a few times. It's a cheap ball of Jack going into field. Field tries to turn back because, as we said, man marking, they were very, very together, and the ball goes back, very deep to Manu. So they were kind of drifting across. I think it was the first time in the game that one of the centre backs decides to commit, So the ball goes to Manu. He gained that 2 meters from Martinez that he make a bit of shadow at the end, and he find a pass for Bernardo. So he tried to cross it, of course, a deflection, and at the end it was a bit of chaos in them because there were some players, for example, Bastoni. It was the first time that the centre back didn't stay. He decided to jump, and he liberate these spaces that no one was there, and Di Marco, he didn't correct in a fast way. So it was like a very specific area here with no one marking. The deflection went there, and yeah, I remember it was like 2-3 steps I made before because I was smelling that maybe I could appear in that situation. The ball could appear. It's just a matter of seconds that you decided, and yeah, the ball appeared there, and I was alone, no mark, and I could shoot. The first thing that came into my mind was to bang the ball like in a hard way because I saw a lot of players, and I was like, maybe it's the only one that you have in all the games, and I was like, nah, shoot strong. The ball made like a spin, At the end, it came the ball behind the players that were covering. So maybe if I shoot straight, they could deflect it, but with this spin, no. And yeah, finally went in. That was incredible.
Coming onto it now to shoot, score! Rodri! Manchester City lead in the Champions League final. And that's a huge
Started running here. Yeah, I remember the excited of the goal. I went into the corner. I made the run of my life. Maybe it wasn't very smart because I was without oxygen after that run. It's one of these games you feel that you could be 0-0 until I don't know what time, but at the end was 1-0. It was a big present for us to grab it and protect it. And yeah, I remember, guys, we have 20 minutes of our lives. This is the Champions League. They had 2 big chances. We were close to concede. So yeah, we knew that day wasn't over.
Inter now have to find a different way to play because they can't just sit back now.
In the last minutes, of course, they take risk. Nana start playing these situations, and we didn't want to go back and defend. We would just keep going the pressing, but of course, with the keeper is one more player. So yeah, I remember that he tried some passes in between to link with Martinez or Lukaku. It was a very tough 5 minutes. Of course, never making the silly movement of trying to jump and making this gap open. Always trying to be in between, covering. I remember Gundo in that moment. We became more like a 4-4-2, more zonal with Bernie and Jack more in a deep position, more zonal. I remember the last 7 minutes we were dead. You cannot communicate because it's a chaos, everything, and everyone wants to not concede, but at the same time there's nervous over there, so it's tough. I remember suffering a lot. It's a time when you think in yourself, you try to take courage and energy from any part of your body and be a team, be together, suffer all together. And it was tough 10 minutes, but at the end the reward was great. The save of Eddie, how was it? The one that Ruben, it was a cross. Yeah, I remember it was the ball goes here. Second post, they put the ball to Lukaku, and yeah, with that leg he saved us. And at the end, I give the same credit to Ruben and to Ederson, because the ball coming to Ruben, he tried to deflect it. He could make an own goal, and he was great to put it to the corner. So yeah, it was in those moments that you are like, oh my God, thank God it didn't come in.
If it had gone to extra time, do you think you could have played or?
No. Well, you never know. Of course, if they score 1-1, you go again and you fight. But in my perspective, I was completely dead. My calves were done. Imagine with a treble year, with all the games. It's the last game of the year. We were exhausted. If they scored, they didn't win it, but I think they would have the mental, belief to win. So it was important not to concede.
They've done it! Manchester City have done it! Champions of Europe finally! History made in Istanbul!
I remember he whistled, I start running, and the first one I joined was Bernardo. I joined him and he disappeared. He just was close to me and disappeared again. Then I met, I think, Jack, and then all the bench was into this part of, because I was running this way, to our fans. And yeah, I remember going to the floor. I get into and start crying because it was a mix of feelings, winning the first Champions League with a goal, with a treble, with everything that means, was unbelievable.
Winner is Rodri.
After the treble, I was one of the nominees of Ballon d'Or. After the incredible year we did collectively, Erling was there, John was there, Kevin also. We were there because what we did collectively. Also, I won with the national team, the Nations League. You never think on individual trophies. I always say this is a consequence of the work.
Are you then surprised that a defensive midfielder has won the Ballon d'Or?
You see the dynamic of the last Ballon d'Ors, the last 20-30 years. We see, I think, one, but it wasn't the case. Football has shown that they can be in love with other parts of football, not only scoring or the guys who makes the difference. Normally, sometimes the midfielder are so important that they can make the difference into a tournament, into a game, and there's lots of players that with that role. Because sometimes in life everything goes so fast. In football in general, you don't have time to enjoy things, and this is something I want to, with my family, with the people who's always there with me. And it was so pretty in the way we did it. Simply, we didn't need to be, massive. It was private and small, but incredible emotion for me and the people who were there with me.
Did you get any messages from Pep on the night of winning your Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, from Pep, from all my teammates. But to be fair, I took a while to answer because my phone was collapsed. But yeah, many people that are happy for me.